Pumps closed. I love that. You got a throwback. Steph's got the throwback 70s gas tanks and the pump closed. If you're not watching on the YouTube, and why wouldn't you watch on the YouTube? But we are going through a mini gas crisis similar to the 1970s. But I don't remember ever having to wait in line for gas in the 1970s. Look at Jeff. He went out and got his gas.
You guys mind? I gotta wear this gas mask while I fill up these bags.
Yeah, that's great, man.
Did you see that Hummer down in Florida that blew up today where they were hoarding gas?
What'd they do?
Some jackasses that were hoarding gas in a Hummer and it blew up.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it every time.
$20 if anybody wants it.
That looks about like $20 worth, especially if you're buying it around here.
Well, it's supposed to be fixed by, if you're listening or watching this over the weekend, it should have been fixed by now because they got the thing turned back out. They paid the ransom, the $5 million ransom.
Oh, they did pay it.
Of course.
$5 million. Wow.
Yeah, that's going to be the new norm. If they do that to me, I'm throwing the computer in the garbage. Yeah, I don't even have 1/10 of a Bitcoin, you stupid fucks. Leave me the fuck alone. Hey, everybody, welcome to Radio Labyrinth. This is season 6, episode 35. All sorts of fun stuff going on, talking about gas. Now, somebody posted here on the document. We have a document, like a show run sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody posted something on there about Pumper, the free gas.
That was me.
That was you.
That was me. A
lot of people have been bringing up. Now, if you don't know who that is, back in the mid 2000s, we had a gas crunch. And so it was maybe even before that. I don't remember exactly when I think it was then. And it was the second go around for the regular guys. And I became a character called Pumper, the free gas fairy, who would just show up and give people gas cards. And I don't believe that, or you would win a gas card when you heard Pumper's phrase of the day. And the affectation on the voice was something that you really couldn't get away with in 2021. So, too bad. Rest in peace, Pumper the Free Gas Fairy. Justin, if you find a picture of Pumper the Free Gas Fairy, feel free to drop it in the YouTube page right now while we're talking.
That's why I asked, couldn't you update it?
Yeah,
do politically correct.
You're still allowed to make fun of fat people, so make it Plumper, the free gas fatty.
You are not allowed. Did you say the F word? Oh, you said fatty.
Fatty.
You're not allowed to make fun of fat people anymore. That's not nice.
No, you can still make fun of fat people.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can. They're the last bastion of people you're allowed to make fun of.
I don't think so. I've seen that you're not allowed to make fun of fat people, and you're not allowed to make fun of especially women who are portly, like that supermodel, Tess. What's her name? You know what I'm talking about. She has a Miss Piggy tattoo on her arm.
I don't know who you're talking about. No.
She's very large. She's.
You guys will make fun of Lizzo, but then when I bring it up, I'm an asshole.
Nobody makes fun of Lizzo.
I don't make fun of Lizzo. I love Lizzo.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care that she's big.
Tess Holiday.
Tess Holiday is her name. She's been in the news this week because she's been suffering from anorexia.
Wow.
No, we'll just leave it there. You can do your own research on that. Again, no commenting because it's not nice to make fun of people.
Well, as a follow-up to that whole Lizzo discussion that we had, she just posted, I think it was on Instagram the day before or yesterday or something, this whole thing about how she's in a very dark and sad place and blah, 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 blah.
Because all y'all making fun of her for posting that naked picture.
She was in the sad place when she posted the picture. You could see it in her eyes.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah,
it's false. This whole murder positivity, blah, blah.
Positive. Let's be positive about our fault. Well, it's not a fault. I don't want to say it. I don't want to go that deep and say it's a fault because it's not a fault. And I'm sorry that I'm late tonight, by the way, because I went outside into the carport to have a cigarette, and we have a neighbor who's kind of a hippy dippy artist. She's not really a neighbor, but she lives down the street. So she's like, are you getting your renovations done because you have to or because you want to? And that's a weird question. And I said, well, we want to. So that's why we're getting our painting done now. We're getting our roof done this week as well because you can't do a roof when you have a newborn in your house. And so anyway, she ended up, I said something about wanting to cut down a tree. That was a bad mistake because she said, the trees help your house from being struck by lightning. And so she was real cool. And I got this big education about why trees are important.
Lucky you.
And I'll get this. And I said, when the neighbors moved across the street into that new house over there, I said, one of the first things they did was they had a tree cut down in their backyard because I believe they wanted to have a garden. So they cut down an old tree. And I said, and then the city showed up and she went, I know they did because I called. They're not supposed to cut down tree. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, dear Lord. So I guess when this bitch dies because a tree falls through her house.
No. Her house has been struck by lightning 4 times since she's lived there.
Does she not have trees around her house?
She has tons of trees around her house. And I got the whole scoop on them. And she paints arty stuff onto like those surfboards, but they're not surfboards, the body boards or whatever. And then I helped her hang one in her tree one time when I was
She's a boogie board artist.
She just had one and painted. She's a nice person. I just got, and she's like, I got an earful and now I know everything I need to know about trees in DeKalb County. So I want to thank her because I thought it was nice of her to do all that for me. And now I won't cut.
You're late because you're out hugging trees.
Well, I was gonna cut one down and abuse it. I said I was trying to whip it on her like I knew more than her. I go, we have all these coniferous trees on our property, and I would like more deciduous. And then I got actually conifers offer more protection from lightning.
Oh my God! Would you start an arborist podcast?
Trees, but you know what? I'm not mad or I don't think it was annoying or anything. I was just like, I got to go do a podcast. But I didn't tell her that. I just said, thanks. Now I know. But we've
invited her on.
Uh-huh.
You should have invited her on so she could keep it going.
She's one of those people that Frank Zappa line from the song Camarillo Brillo. My favorite line from that song is he's trying to bang this chick and the line is, she carried on without a comma. And that's an apt saying for a lot of people, she carried on without a comma. Anyway, I'm not trashing my name. I thought she was very nice, and I'm being serious about that. As also, I'm being serious about Lizzo. I think Lizzo is cool. I don't like, I'm not going to go buy her record and everything, but she's cool. She got her thing going. She's working it. She will last. A lot of people won't last.
Can you get us some goddamn free gas or not?
Can't get you any free gas. I'm not Pumper the Free Gas. What would Pumper the Free Gas Fairy sound like now?
That's what I wanted you to figure out. You're
Pumper,
the creator.
You can't even say fairy. I mean, because all that was double entendre back then.
Is Pumper the gas
finder?
Pumper the gas grand wizard.
He's the
No, you can't say that. I'll get kicked off of American Idol. That kid is 12 years old, and he shot a video of some friend of his wearing a hood, and they found it, and he's 16 now. He's on American Idol, and you can't come back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so kids, if you're out there, do not shoot videos with your friends in Klan hoods. It's not recommended. It's
not ever.
No, not ever. Not ever. And there will never be a time in the future when it's okay again.
No.
So
like it was okay.
It's never okay. No one ever thought it.
Well, in the 50s, it was okay.
In, some places.
I'm not saying that I approve of it. I'm saying that it was tolerated because it was tolerated. Now, in the 2000s, 4 years ago, when this kid was 12, obviously somebody had to have known better. So like what I'm saying is, if you have Klan memorabilia, don't take it to a flea market. Don't wear it in comical TikTok videos. Just get rid of it. Throw it away because it's not doing you any good. And you need the space in your house.
Maybe it was just a pointy ghost.
No, I don't think so.
It was a dunce hat.
It was a dunce hat with 2 eye slits. Well, they don't have eye slits in them anymore. They have the flap.
I would also say that if you're an old white man and you're angry about your Dunkin' Donuts order, don't call the staff the N-word because you're going to get punched and you'll die.
Yeah, I know. And that guy that beat him up and died is going to be charged for murder, right?
Manslaughter.
Yeah.
Which I really, it's...
Well, he didn't
over the top
response, he just punched him.
But come on now.
Yeah, but dude, you it's not the 1950s.
Right.
You know what I mean? You live with people that don't look like you. It's too bad. It's too bad, but you know what, Grumpy? You're dead now, and you can't bitch about minorities anymore.
I mean, obviously the dude didn't mean to kill him, and he even
he
asked
didn't
him.
mean to kill
He was
him.
like, "What did you say?" And he said it again.
Yeah, dumb.
You old bastard.
Give him the Darwin Award in whatever realm he went to, his soul, looking down on his body on the ground, beaten up because he couldn't stop being a racist piece of shit.
Duncan. That's their new commercial.
Yeah, don't be a racist piece of shit.
And don't stand in the puddles.
Oh. Who the fuck goes to Duncan anyway? Here, I have some donuts that we made 3 days ago in a factory 250 miles from this place, and we took them. Huh?
And they said that he was a regular, and he was always a fucker. Every time he came in there, he was always a jerk.
Just remember this guy next time you go through that Burger King drive-thru and try and crawl through the drive-thru because they're taking too long with your order.
Yeah. Well, you know, being a jerk in a drive-thru isn't exclusive to any one type of person. And if you go on Twitter, you can see all sorts of examples of it. But I don't recommend that. I just think it's stupid. Another thing I saw on Twitter today was some dude, I don't know the context, but it was at a baseball game, and the guy's wearing a Padres jersey, and he just walks up and cold cocks a dude, and the guy gets knocked out, and then all these people pile on him and beat him up. Maybe we should go back into lockdown.
Some people should.
Maybe we should never let
come
people out of their homes, because look, they've been itching to get out there and fight people. Stop fighting. There's no reason to fight.
No, and shoot people.
Yeah, don't shoot people. Don't fight. You can't really stop people from shooting people. But anyway, well, you can't. You know, we do. You know, and look at China. You know, they have stabbing. They have school stabbings. You know, they just had one in China a couple of weeks ago where some kid lost his mind and stabbed a bunch of his schoolmates and teachers and stuff. So it's not just the United States. We just have guns. So, yeah, if it weren't guns, there'd be something else. But anyway, moving on. And
I think we should have whips.
No.
They should just issue all kids a first day.
Yeah, first day.
Don't you think it'd be badass though if, you know, people just like went on these whipping rampages? They're just going through a store just fucking whipping people.
Oh, okay.
No, don't think so. No, not in the South.
No.
Okay, not in the South.
No.
Not in the South.
No. No one should have whips except for Indiana Jones.
That's what I meant though. That's totally what I meant.
Wear a fedora and a dirty tan shirt when you're carrying your whip, maybe. And also if you're an archaeologist.
Yeah, I was not thinking.
I know you weren't, but I'm telling
Anyway.
you. He has a whip.
Let's get a riding crop. That'll work better.
And if you need to put a rope on your garage door, don't put a loop at the end of it. Just leave the little frayed knot there. And, you know,
Everybody knows what you're doing. Just
put some tape around it, dummy. Know the era in which you live. Don't make fun of Lizzo, and don't make fun of Test of the D'Urbervilles.
And don't make fun of Pumper the Free Gas Fairy.
Sweating to the oldies. That was one of the it was just a Richard Simmons impression, and we don't know his sexuality, so it's fine.
Your costume back then, I know again, I'm sure Dustin will find a picture of it. You were so lovely, and you had those cheruby cheeks.
Yeah.
You had the lip gloss. Who did your makeup and everything for your whole little outfit?
Larry Wax's ex-wife.
Oh, okay. She did you up very nicely.
Yeah. Speaking of Larry Wax, I had lunch with him today, and a guy that used to be on the regular guys named Herman from Dunwoody, and also Rob Thomas, who's a guy that
From Matchbox 20?
Yeah.
No, not Rob Thomas. Jesus Christ, Rob Turner, who listens to the show now. He's gonna get pissed. Jeff, you've met Rob before. We always run into him at dead shows and stuff. He's a nice dude. He's a good guy, and he also hosts his own podcast. I wanted to say Rob's podcast, which is called Inside Out WTNS. You can find them on Twitter at Inside Out WTNS. They talk about the jam band scene and music and all sorts of things in the culture, and it is a part of the Osiris Pod and Jam Bass Network. So you can check them out at InsideOutWTNS.com. And I see that Dustin follows them, but Rob is a great guy. And anyway, we had a great lunch, and Herman from Dunwoody told the tale about how he created Herman from Dunwoody to, that's because that's not his real name, but to make fun of Eric and make Eric mad on the radio. And it worked back then. I don't know if it worked now. So anyway, we're counting down to when I'm going to be a dad. And so will my wife. She will not be a dad. She'll be a mother. But we're about to have a baby boy 2 weeks from today, I believe, is the due date. And once Hmm?
You're assigning a gender already? The kid's not even born.
Well, he has a penis, and he's male.
Well, that doesn't mean he's a male. Gotta let him decide when he's old enough.
Let me ask Lizzo what she thinks. No, we're old school, so we're gonna go with science.
Yeah.
Genetic science and genital science. You see the genitals. I know what that means.
Careful though, JK.
But JK, just kidding. For people who are into that thing, I'm totally supportive of that, but we're different. We are going to do a gender reveal party with a bunch of explosives.
Yeah, blow up some trees in your backyard so your neighbor gets really pissed.
Oh, she'll call the cops. So anyway, the little what is my friend? Little nug jar will be around in a couple of weeks. And so what that means for Radio Labyrinth, it means I won't be at work for a couple of weeks for sure. But for Radio Labyrinth, we'll be going to just for a limited amount of time back to once a week. And there'll be other content on the YouTube channel. I'll pop in with some videos and stuff when I have time to do it. I may even introduce you guys to the little fella, pending mother's approval, of course. But but don't worry, it won't be a long time. It'll only be 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe tops, and then we'll be back to 2 episodes a week. But just for a little bit, it's going to be one per week. We had fun earlier this week on our show talking about people getting fired, and a lot of people submitted some stuff on social media. So if you guys don't mind, I'll read a couple.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll read them in character voice so it's less boring. Start off with GW, okay? This one comes from Fuxi. That's a cool name. I don't know what national origin that is, but I hope he's not one of those nativist GOPers. I don't know what happened to the GOP. I mean, used to be, you love sending all your companies overseas and taking all the jobs away from Americans. But look what they've become now. Just a bunch of people that want to keep jobs here. I don't understand. Nativists. Anyway, Fuxi, I hated to get political there. I had to fire people. One girl from when I was working at an optical shop. She liked me. Not romantically. Just wanted to hang by me because I was funny. Was that so? She would like to do stuff like, as she was filing people's medical records, which were supposed to be alphabetical, would hold all the cards in her hands. And when it was lunchtime, she would just shove the remaining cards into whatever drawer she had open and then leave. So I was told to fire her. Later that week, as I told her she was fired, she got very upset, almost to the verge of hysterics. And she was yelling, "Why? Why?" I asked her, "Do you really want to know?" She got real calm, looked at me and said, "No, not really," and left. Next one comes from a guy from Texas. His name is Roby. He spells it weird, but it's Roby. I used to call him Robbie. Well, I didn't. Tim did, but it's Roby. He's been fired twice. So I just graduated high school with 2 months to go before my enlistment date arrived. Thank you for your service. For the past 4 years, I've been working as a shorthanded cook at a small local cafe. I hope your hand grew in. Each day after school, I would arrive at the cafe and relieve the owner, who would go home for the night. I was basically in charge of the rest of the staff, all women over 40. Because I was the cook, I'd close the place down and head home. I worked there at least 6 hours a day, 7 days a week for $6 an hour under the table. That's not very American patriotic. Taxpaying is patriotic. Had I been living on my own for a month or so and the job allowed me to afford my $225 a month plus utilities, furnished apartment plus gas and food. I think if you work at a restaurant, you could steal food. That's what Tim always did. Now I have a friend while still in high school was married with a baby and worked part-time. He lived in a trailer owned by my boss. One day my boss, who was in her 60s, is talking about breaking into this friend's trailer and getting something of hers. I believe it was a blanket out of the trailer. The next day I'm talking to him and he's telling me someone broke into the trailer and trashed the place. He was kind of scared and worried. I told him who had broken in. Now that was the first mistake you made, Roby. Don't snitch. Snitches get stitches. The next day, my boss meets me at the door to the cafe and asked me if I liked my job. I told her, of course I did. She said, well, you should have kept your fucking nose shut and minded your own business. I added the fucking, you're fired. I just turned around and drove toward home wondering what I was going to do since I had moved out of my mom's house after a disagreement and damn sure wasn't moving back there. Good for you. Stick to your guns. I was in a small community I guess in a small community, news travels fast because less than 10 minutes later, as I passed a local water well driller's house, I was flagged down and put to work until I entered the Army. Isn't that awesome?
It really worked out for the best.
It did. Of course, I'd rather cook burgers all day than drill wells. But that's just me, because I'm George W. Bush and I'm entitled and wealthy.
And let's talk about this woman, though. This 60-year-old woman that broke into somebody's house for a blanket and trashed their house. What the fuck is wrong with her?
That's the mystery. He didn't delve into it. He didn't explain her motives. I don't understand why somebody would do that. I mean, a trailer, what'd she do? You could just open the door. I mean, how
was a blanket made out of human skin?
It probably was.
How many places are there to hide a blanket in a trailer?
Well, you have, first you have to take off the wood paneling. And that's hard. I mean, the wood paneling is tough to get through. I lived in a trailer when I was a child. And then every poster I had, you put tape on the back of it and you put it on the wood paneling and fall off in 10 minutes.
You lived in a trailer? You guys were millionaires when you were a child.
I lived in a trailer in Covington, Pennsylvania. Of course, we called it Covington. And I lived there. And every day these trucks would go up and down the road. It was called Route 15. And all these coal trucks, they were just driving coal going 80 miles an hour in front of your house, 2-lane road. It was very scary. And if your dog got out, your mom would run around screaming. Then I threw a rock at my neighbor and cut his head open. And he bled. And it was scary.
And then they buried him in a pet cemetery.
No, he's alive still. I saw him on Facebook the other day. But he won't be friends with me because I threw that rock at him. He still has a scar. I felt bad still. Oh, wait a minute. That was Tim. Here's one from Rob Kearns. I'm going to switch voices.
Is this the Fuddruckers one? Because I want to know about this one.
This one's Domino's Pizza.
Oh, okay.
And this comes from Rob Kearns, and I'm going to read it in the voice of the future governor of the state of California, Caitlyn Jenner. Wow. Hi, guys. All right. Oh, I'm so tired. I've been campaigning all day. I couldn't even remember that I didn't vote. I thought I didn't vote, but I did. It turns out I voted, but maybe just, one of my kids took the ballot, and I don't know.
You think you're going to beat Newsom?
Well, I think so. I really want to be the first female governor of the great state of California. And there's just nothing that's going to stop me except, maybe they do financial disclosures. I might not want to do that because I have a lot of money, and from all these reality shows. But really what I'm doing is I'm working in conjunction with my ex-wife to create a new show. Wouldn't that be great? Watch me lose the election. Anyhow. So Rob Kearns writes, getting fired from Domino's Pizza was the best thing that ever happened to me. I got a job delivering pizzas at the Domino's Pizza in Kennesaw in 1990. Wow, you know what I was doing in 1990?
Thinking about scissoring somebody someday?
No, but I wasn't fucking Chris yet. Isn't that nice? Anyway, I think I wasn't. I don't remember. It's the one by Harrison High School. Yeah, everybody knows what that is. I was never such a lot of people before this. The manager had just gotten kicked out of the Navy. And she ran the pizza place like it was a jail, yelling and cussing at everyone to move faster. I worked at a Domino's Pizza, one of the original Domino's Pizzas when it was around when I was younger, before I ran the decathlon. And the motto back then was, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean. So I'm not seeing that you've done anything wrong here. Delivering pizzas was the main source of his income for all these people. Failed landscapers and ex-cons. How do you fail at landscaping? I guess you cut your tree down and then your neighbor calls the police. Here I am, 19 years old with a kid, and I just want to make some cash. So one day, while moving faster, I got a speeding ticket. Wow, see, that's what happens. Why did I just sound like Ernest Borgnine? Yeah, not Ernest Borgnine, Edward G. Robinson. Get it together. Geez, you saw that Moses movie. What was that called? Oh, yeah, The 10 Commandments. Geez, wasn't that a great movie? Wow. John Derrick's in it and everything. Anyhow, I did not tell them back at the store. Someone saw me get the ticket and reported me back to the manager, and then I got fired for not reporting the speeding ticket. Well, a week before I was fired, my brother called me at work. He said someone from the Navy called looking for me. So curiously, you remember in the Navy, that was my favorite Village Peoples. I think that album by the Village People is what convinced me to live my true self. Anyway, a week before I was fired, I already read that part. Curious, I returned the call. I said, hello, Navy. It was a Navy recruiter at Town Center wanting to know if I wanted to come in and talk about career options. I said, well, I'm working at Domino's right now, but sure, I'll take time to come in and see you. So I looked around the Domino's, looked at my fellow drivers and said, when can I come in? And I was shortly fired. About a week later, I got a letter from Domino's on this nice letterhead saying I would never, ever work for Domino's again. I was banned. I couldn't even go in and order one of their disgusting pizzas. Fast forward 15 years later, I'm living post-Karina New Orleans, which was a mess. There was mud everywhere. Everything was flooded. Smelled like mold. I ordered a Domino's pizza and the driver showed up wearing the hat that the store manager's wearing. He must be really slammed if the manager is out delivering. He was visibly shaken with my comment. He shit himself. We talked, and I tell him that as a teen I worked at Domino's. He tells me his woes. I complained. They're so short-staffed, he needs drivers. Come on, he says, I can have you driving tonight. That's their come on. They want you to start driving tonight, but they can't pay you. I tell him how I was fired, and I got the letter in the mail. He puts his hand on my shoulder and says, son, Domino's forgives you. I forgive you. Now let's get back to work. I respectfully declined because, well, I hated that job, and I don't blame you. Why would you go back to a place that doesn't want you? It's like me knocking on Chris's door at 3 a.m. Let me back in. I hate not being famous. Why do you think I grew this ridiculously long hair? And the last one comes from Beth. Anybody have any suggestions? Beth, of course, Van Elswick, the hemp huntress who we had on the show a couple weeks ago. She has an interesting story. I'll just read it in my own voice because I remember this vividly. My first firing was from the college radio station at the time, WXMU, now WNTE. The same college radio station Tim Andrews did not get fired from. Well, I'll tell you why. I was the program director and not the general manager. Nothing was... Well, go ahead.
You weren't in there. I was in there.
Yeah, I wasn't in there. I wasn't in there that night. But had I been the general manager and that had happened, I wouldn't have allowed you to be fired. Nothing was proven that while on late night air with my show Flying High with Angel, that certain at the time illegal plant use may have taken place. Gen X MFers. We did college radio right. Well, at least Tim did. Yes, I did it very well. Much love radios, keep it canon. I did radio right. I stole it was weird how a lot of the CDs and records in my collection and in some of my roommates who will not be mentioned, our records, someone would break into our apartment and write WXMU on all of our records and CDs. It was crazy. I don't know how they got in there and did that, but maybe it was the lady that broke into the trailer looking for the blanket. But anyway.
I was fired in that little hoo-ha.
Well, you guys were smoking weed in there.
We were.
You can't smell it over the radio, man.
Yeah.
We didn't intend to get that high, but it was like literally the best weed I ever had in my entire life.
Was it that stuff that was growing at Quarry Creek Apartments?
I don't know. I think it came from Wellsboro or something.
Okay.
And it was just like leaves and shit. It wasn't even buds. And we all got so fucking high. We couldn't deal. We couldn't do a radio show. And the dude like obviously heard us and it was like,
no, he came in. He was always going in and out. His name was Tom. He was the GM and he was, his favorite singers were George Michael and Shake Your Love. I just can't shake your love. Debbie Gibson. Mm-hmm. But he and his girlfriend came in there that night and smelled it, and then you got in trouble. And I couldn't do anything about it. And I even tried to prevent it. I even went to the advisor who helped at the radio station. She couldn't do anything about it either. So
we did not intend to get that high, but it just happened.
Yep. Well, stupid pot smoking dumbasses. So yeah, there's but thank you guys for your contributions. The more we do that, the more you contribute. We'll read them. We'll do them in voices.
There was one note that someone posted about quitting Fuddruckers when it got really busy.
Yeah.
And you didn't read that one, but I
didn't see it. I would put it on there.
What the fuck? Because Fuddruckers, you don't even have to make the burgers. You're cooking beef patties. How hard is that? Because the people make their own burgers at Fuddruckers.
Does anyone know where it is or where I could find it?
Did he get fired or I thought he said it was like a mass quit.
Yeah, I think they all quit because it was so busy.
Walked out.
Well, that's pretty shitty.
It was like everybody just was like, fuck this place, and they left.
I quit Fuddruckers in town center, but that was because the manager was a douchebag. And my mom had just died, and I'm like, I need an extra day. And he goes, well, you only get 2 bereavement days. Suck my balls, douchebag. And then I wanted Thanksgiving off. He's like, you can't, it's a busy day. Like, all right, well, here's my
Fuddruckers was open on Thanksgiving.
All those people going out for the Fuddruckers for Thanksgiving dinner.
Right. No, it was Black Friday that
say, what the hell?
Yeah, because it was right next to the mall. So now you know why I was
okay.
But I put in my 2-week notice right then. I said, all right, well, you got my notice. I didn't have any job prospects and ended up working at Applebee's. But I had the Z93 job lined up, and that's ancient history. So
worked at Applebee's?
Yeah, I was a waiter at the Applebee's. I don't think it's there anymore, but it was the corner of Abernathy and Roswell Road.
I got hired as a hostess at Applebee's, and then I never showed up.
And you never showed up? That was me. What was it? The Brickery. That was a restaurant in Sandy Springs. What?
Tim got fired for not having enough flair.
No, I didn't get fired. You mean at Applebee's?
Yeah.
No, I quit there when I got the job at IQTV. And then I was done with restaurants for a while anyway. No, I got hired at this place called the Brickery because I wanted to make extra money. And I put the uniform on and I drove all the way to the restaurant. And I got in the parking lot and I go, I have a full-time job. And I just drove home with it. I can't do this. I cannot do this. I'm just going to have
They
to
kept calling you for like weeks after too to return the uniform and you never did.
No, I gave it. There was a guy that lived in our complex who worked there and he would always walk there. So I put it in a bag and gave it to him.
Okay.
Yeah. They did. They called all the time. You need to bring that shirt back.
What the fuck they need that shirt back for? It was like one of those blue chambray denim shirts. They're like,
but it said Brickery on it.
So,
Yeah, where's I gonna wear that to to a funeral or to like the opera or some shit? No. I still have my Bob Evans name tag, and I still have a name tag from when I worked at McDonald's in 1988, 87, and 88.
How about somebody who would, if there was ever anybody that would get jobs at just various fast food and blah, 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 and just never show up? It was always for the shirt, and they just have some collection.
That's your whole wardrobe.
It was like 100 of these shirts from different places.
If you had done that in the 70s and 80s, you could probably sell that stuff on eBay and make a nice little penny from it because those old I was in the end of the polyester blue and the paper hat, and I made it to the baseball cap, white and red striped shirts, the button up.
I watched that Booker T A&E biography. That's what
Wasn't that great?
He would work at a Wendy's and get the uniform and then go to a different Wendy's and rob the place dressed as a Wendy's employee.
Yeah. That's the first one. I still haven't seen Stone Cold Steve Austin, which I guess was the first one, but I watched Rowdy Roddy Piper and I watched Macho Man, and those two were so sad.
Yeah.
And the Booker T one was just you finished, you had a smile. I had a smile on my face.
Yeah.
He's such a cool dude. And he always was electric. When he came onto the scene, he was one of the reasons I started watching WCW, because up to that point I was like, that's the hillbilly one. And I like WWF at the time. Then WWF got really stupid for the longest time. So I really love Booker T and I followed him over there. But wasn't it cool just to see him, build his family and work his ass off and just become who he was. He
learned his lesson in jail when he was in there for like 2 years.
And then you saw Ivan
Putski,
the Polish Hammer, ran this school and basically taught him how to be a wrestler. And for $4,000, which his previous boss had loaned him the money or just gave him the money. So, I mean, that guy had some help, but he did it on his own and with a little help. But Ivan Putski was one of my favorites in the 80s. You guys remember him? Little stubby faced Polish dude. He had the Polish Hammer.
Mm-mm.
It was his cock. No, it was his cock. No, so those are good. And then, I watched, it's just been all wrestling for me. And I watched a couple other things, and we don't usually talk about it on this Saturday show, but I watched the Dark Side of the Ring. Have you guys watched that yet?
No,
I haven't got to watch it yet.
Oh my God, that one's depressing as fuck. It's like you watch the uplifting one and it's like, oh, I had to quench my thirst with, I took a break from watching Forged in Fire, but I have so many on my DVR now that I had to get back into it. But I watched the one with Ric Flair. Did you guys see that one?
Not yet.
That's a fun one. They all come out as wrestlers and they just do the whole thing and it's fun. But it was cool to see Ric Flair. But it's just like everything's WWE now. Now I'm going to watch that reality show where they go out and find the treasures and it'll just be all wrestling for me. So there you go. But it beats watching the news, I'd say.
Anything does.
Yeah, anything beats watching the news.
Speaking of news, Dustin, you got some news?
Looks like the Golden Globes are going to be missing for 2022. Netflix, Amazon, they've all said that they're not going to participate. And Tom Cruise this week even sent back 3 of his Golden Globes.
I heard he was going to send back his Oscar too. Oh,
oh yeah. Yeah, he had to make
Stupid.
room. He had to
Just
make
keep
room
it-
on his shelf.
But that's dumb. Why would you give back something that you would want? It's fucking
Forget
stupid.
I'm a weirdo. Forget I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, because it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah. And NBC canceled the show that no one was going to watch anyway. So
I don't
It was
understand
funny
how.
when Ricky Gervais hosted.
they're never going to let him host again.
My question is, I thought that the whole thing with their organization, the foreign press, is that you don't know who they are.
Right.
The very secretive organization where you don't know who any of the members are. So how do you know if they're all white?
Well, that's another part of the the problem is they had an expose. The LA Times did an expose last year or year before 2019, and it basically opened up all this information. It let them know that there were these certain pockets of people and who they were. And also their practices on pay for recognition, which was a big problem. There is no guidelines for paying for your project to be put in with the rest of these.
Mhm.
So with the Academy, you at least have structure where it has to be shown in the theater for a limited amount of time. It has to follow the all of these prerequisites. Well, for the Hollywood Foreign Press, it's just whatever they decide.
Get your shit together, Golden Globes.
Jeff, I did see the Lizzie story trailer. That's coming out on Apple Plus. Stephen King's
Lisey's
new
or
series.
I always thought it was Lisey, so maybe I'm wrong.
I said Lisey's story when I read it, but I actually read the book. I didn't listen to the audiobook.
Honestly, I heard it a long time ago. I listened to it when it first came out, but it was Lizzie's.
It's
Right.
kind of
That's how you
tied.
pronounce it.
Yeah, isn't it kind of tied to the Talisman in the Dark Tower in a way?
I didn't get a connection then, but again, I hadn't read the Dark Tower series at that point.
Right.
I need to go back and read, but it does. I mean, it's a story where you have a woman who was married to an author, of course,
Right.
and he had died a few years before, and now you've got people that are, or one person in particular that's coming to her saying that her husband had all these things in his closet, and she had put those things out of her mind and is starting to remember those, everything that he did and everything that happened, and it's a great story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely King. I mean, it's right. It's in that wheelhouse. But as far as it's going to have Clive Owen, Jennifer Jason Leigh, but Julianne Moore is playing the title role. Yeah, and it looks good. I mean, it's Apple Plus, so I mean, they dropped some good money on production, and it looks like cast as well. So with King stuff, you just have to wait and see. At this point, there's no way of telling whether or not a King story will translate, because
As long as he's not directing it, it's going to be fine.
I thought the trailer looked really good too.
yeah,
When does
he's
it come
not
out?
he's not directing it, but he did write the screenplay. So he did actually write the screenplay for this one from his own book. So at least it has that connection with King. It's not been processed through someone else's or a table of writers.
Right.
So we'll see how that one goes. The one thing that does look good, and I know that Steph is can't wait for this one. Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead is coming out.
Is that Friday?
Yeah, it should be. It's coming out this week or next week.
24th, I think.
Oh,
Okay, next week. But yeah, this is supposed to. He's jumping back in. This is his first real film after everything that happened with DC and his daughter passing,
Mhm.
and he's kind of getting back into his roots as far as the zombie roots that he had with the original Dawn of the Dead that he made, the remake that he made. It's a neat story. It's kind of it looks like Las Vegas has become this lone island of zombies that they've built a wall around, and it's post some event that all the zombies had been created, but they've kept them all in this one area, and the government is going to get rid of the whole problem by nuking Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But there's a casino owner who has $200 million in a vault still in his vault in his casino, and so he hires a group of people to go in.
Matt Damon and oh no.
Yeah, it's all the cast from Ocean's 11.
Yeah,
they're going to come in. No, it's actually Batista is the main character in this one, so he's been flipping burgers and he gets in since the apocalypse had happened.
Yeah.
So he's getting back into he's getting a group of ragtag people to go in there, get the money because
he playing Batista, the wrestler who's been working as a burger flipper.
It's actually Dave Batista is the character.
Oh, that's fucking cool. He is not bad in
Oh no,
as an actor at all.
No, he's not. Well, I mean, I think all of those any of those guys that came up in wrestling or anything else, I mean, that's a huge practice arena for acting, and it's shown that most of those guys are really, really good actors because they've done it since they were teenagers.
Hulk Hogan sucks as an actor.
Yeah, except for
he's great in Rocky III because he's playing Hulk Hogan, even though he's what is he? The ultimate male, Thunderlips.
Thunderlips. Yeah.
The Halston that you'd brought up, Steph, looks like his family is coming out saying that they had no idea, one, that they were making it to begin with, and then after they found out that they were making it, they had no way to put any of their input in or were even asked if anything was correct. And so I guess they've seen it and they're saying that it's completely off.
Of course it is. It's a Ryan Murphy thing. It's not supposed to be historically accurate. He does all. He's like the gay Tarantino. He just takes shit and then he just this was the basis of it, and this is what I'm doing with it.
Yeah, I don't. How many families, really would say that? Oh yeah, I'm sure that's just like my, relative, regardless of what it was. I mean, you have someone taking your family member and then interpreting their life and putting it out there. Yeah, it's never going to be correct.
Oh, not usually, but I mean, and I can guarantee you, he doesn't care if it's correct. I mean, the whole Andrew Cunanan thing. Think about there was a lot of that. Yeah, but that was a lot of his thinking of what Andrew could have been thinking during this. I mean, he had all of this shit where he's talking to himself and all this other crap. That didn't fucking happen. We don't know that it happened. He just made it up.
And he didn't have a pink ball to tell him everything that happened while he was back to Gilead. Oh, sorry. More Stephen King talk.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. I bet it'll be fun, though.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And as far as McGregor's, was it Ewan McGregor? He said that it was the most fun role he's ever played. And he didn't know anything about the guy at all. He didn't even know the guy existed before he got the role.
That was the strategy he had with Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Hopefully this one will at least, I think he'll have a good performance, but I don't really care if it's accurate. Most people's lives are boring anyway. Even famous people. It's like it takes a lot to manipulate a plot of a movie to be watchable. I mean, most people's lives are, mundane, even with a few, either disasters or great things that happen to them. The Lodge 49 showrunner, Peter Octo. Is that how you say his last name?
Looks it.
Octo. They're creating a series called Moonhaven for AMC. So I guess AMC's given him another shot for a series. But this is a sci-fi thriller series. It sounds like they've got an oasis area on the moon where they're restarting human civilization to not have the problems that it had on Earth. So I guess it's kind of like
Earth has air.
Elysium.
Oh,
yeah.
Elysium.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Part of that.
I think they should just open a lodge on the moon and have the entire cast from Lodge 49 be in
Lodge MOON.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's called Moonhaven, and it focuses on a utopian colony on the moon that may hold keys to preserving life on Earth. So it's set 100 years in the future, and it looks like they're basing the show on a smuggler that's going back and forth from Earth to the moon, and that's where the plot's going to ride. But I think we brought it up a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about people being canceled, but Fisher Stevens is finally facing the music and kind of getting ahead of the curve on this cancel culture. He's coming out apologizing for his role in Short Circuit and Short Circuit 2.
Oh, good. Now he won't get fired from the Best Buy.
Yeah, it's but he went on and did a podcast where he was getting questioned about it, and he completely, he was like, if that had happened today, I wouldn't take the role. And he talked about how it wasn't his idea. Originally, he was supposed to be this white student, that was coming in and was supposed to be a helper to the original character. But when they came in, they were like, "Hey, can you play an Indian guy?" And he was like, "Is that what you want?" And at the time, that's what actors were asked to do, and
they couldn't find
any
Indian people in the entire country that would have been able to do it. Not one in the 1980s. There weren't any Indian people in the United States at all. My God,
they all just got here.
Last
year.
Yeah.
Aziz Ansari did an interview with them, and that's when he originally first kind of came out. And this had been a few months or a while back, it looks like, because that's the first time I had heard Aziz. That was in 2015.
And what did Aziz say to him?
Well, he said for his entire childhood, he thought that Fisher Stevens was an Indian guy.
Really?
Because of that role, he did it so well. And it looks like, Fisher Stevens, he said that he spent a month in India living there. He had a dialect coach. He would spend hours in the makeup chair. He treated it.
Hang on a minute. All that money they spent to do that. Movies.
Hollywood.
Bollywood.
Yeah.
And guess what? Most Indians speak English.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let them learn the British rule for a long time.
Oh my God. Yeah, that I love that movie. The first one, the second one sucked, but Steve Guttenberg was in it, so I liked the movie. And that's kind of made me feel icky even at that age, because I kind of figured he wasn't an Indian fella.
I didn't know. I thought he was when I was a kid.
Yeah, I did too.
I didn't know until I saw My Science Project, and it really freaked me out because I was like, "That's him."
Yeah. Yep.
And he was he was an Italian guy in that, a stereotypical Italian guy, which he's not anyway. So he was doing both, I guess.
I think we can all agree the most egregious casting or film. There are two. One maybe a little. I'm splitting hairs, but certainly Soul Man was a movie that shouldn't have been made. And it wasn't even a good movie. So no, it's a terrible movie for what it is. It's awful, but for what it is, it's also criminally bad judgment.
It's terrible, but as a pale teenager, I often wish that they had those pills. I would not have went that dark, but I would have taken them if it would have tanned me.
Steph Dolezal.
Well, yeah, would you have lied to go to college and then acted like that?
No, I would have just liked to have had a bitchin' tan, which I never really had. I actually, one time I remember when I was in 10th grade, we went on a field trip and I slathered myself. My cousin Becky says, "Put this Elizabeth Arden self-tanning lotion on." And she said, "It looks so natural." And I slathered it all over my legs. We were on, we're in shorts or whatever. Didn't do my arms. Didn't think about that. So,
That's happened to me several times.
Go on the street, and we're outside, so the light is even whatever. And I've got these fucking, they look like Soul Man legs. I have Soul Man legs, and then the rest of me is just crisp white. Through this entire field trip, it was great.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, Soul Man's pretty bad. I just can't believe that they didn't make a sequel. Oh, you got one more story?
Yeah.
This is the biggest one, I think, the one I'm most excited for.
Yes. We were also talking about how Adult Swim needs to, cough up some money and let some of these shows finish. And it looks like they're doing that. The Venture Brothers, as well as Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and Metalocalypse are all getting greenlit for movies to finish off their series.
Oh, cool.
That is pretty awesome.
No love for Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell, though. That wrap-up special still dead, as far as I know.
You guys should talk to Dave while I'm out, see what's going on, or Casper, see what's going on.
I reached out to Casper. I haven't heard back from him yet.
Yeah, just tell them I'm not going to be on. They'll be happy with that. And let's see. Yeah. Venture Brothers is for sure something I'm looking forward to because they didn't wrap it up, and I'd really like to see what's going on. I read a little bit of the plot, and I think it's exciting. Aqua Teen Hunger,
People are still saying that if the movie does well and people buy tickets and go see it, or
you have to buy. They're releasing it on Blu-ray first, right? And then
I don't know how they're releasing it, but if people actually pay, then maybe there would be talk to do new episodes after that.
Well, it's going straight to HBO Max immediately, and then
but after.
No, I got you. You're right. The way it's written, they wrote it backwards. Yeah, it is going there first, and then it's going to HBO Max. So it's a 90-day exclusive window before.
That'll, to Jeff's point, that if they do well monetarily with that, then that'll be good. So
everybody all over Reddit is saying, don't pirate it, don't steal it, pay for it.
Don't steal it. I mean, these are shows that I'll pay for,
and that'll work. I mean, when Reddit usually gets together and does those, it's amazing the because you can go on torrents and look, and you can't find them.
Right.
It's amazing when they what Reddit can do when they put their mind to it. Well, we've seen that already this year, but
yeah. It's amazing what Elon Musk can do when he puts his mind to it, like destroy Bitcoin and Dogecoin.
Doge.
Although Doge went up today because he said we're not going to find a way to do it on Dogecoin. But he really fucked with Bitcoin this week.
He just was it not even 2 weeks ago? He said you could buy Teslas with Doge.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but he said this week you can't. On Saturday Night Live, he said it's a meme or it's a hustle, and then yesterday he said we're no longer going to allow people to buy my car with Bitcoin because it uses so much energy, and it's green. And then you charge those vehicles, by the way, with either a nuclear power plant or a coal-fired plant, and coal-fired plants put a lot of shit into the atmosphere. So if you're driving around in your electric vehicle and you're all, oh, look at me, I'm doing, you're pretty fucking awful as well. So until they can figure out a car.
A bag of gas, though.
Okay. Yeah, get yourself a bag of gas or a bag of electricity, a bag of coal. You can burn the coal in your backyard, make steam, and then maybe make a steam engine.
What would be the only true clean burning would be a solar powered car?
Yeah,
it would never generate enough energy. No, hydrogen powered, so it would water.
Yeah, the exhaust would be water.
Mm-hmm. And according to a video I saw on a conspiracy board one time, a guy invented an engine that ran on water, and they killed him.
Yeah, in the 40s, 30s,
70s,
or 40s, or the 70s. Mm-hmm. There was one. I mean, they've had those. They've been a lot of. They had a motorcycle it was around World War II, the end of World War II. That would run off water, and they did the same thing. They had the same. It was actually steam powered.
Yeah, and they killed him, didn't they?
It just didn't take off.
No. We need that car from Detroiters that poops.
Yeah, the pooping car.
Hey, it's got to be better than those guys that ride around filtering out French fry grease and pumping it through their Mercedes.
Yeah, biodiesel.
Yeah. A friend of mine that would do that. He had deals with 2 different Chinese restaurants and one independent mom and pop bar, and he would get those and filter them in his garage. And every time he would drive you anywhere, it was just like the nastiest, greasiest Chinese buffet smell coming out of
that thing. That gas stinks.
But it was cheap. It was cheap. I mean, except for the amount of time you spent pumping it out into something and spilling it in your garage and rats coming for the grease in your garage. But, besides that, it saved you a couple of bucks.
Why waste all that liquid gold? Jeff, who died?
A couple of people died. Tawny Katane was one.
Tawny Katane died last week. Yeah, that was pretty sad.
Yeah. No cause of death.
Didn't they know why she died?
She got it.
No, they haven't died.
I've heard that rumor. I don't believe that. She had problems. She did a lot of drugs and shit.
Yeah, who knows? But she was only 56. And Norman Lloyd passed away from St. Elsewhere and from Dead Poets Society. He was 106.
Too young. Wow. There were other stories that said he was 109. So
Really?
Yeah, and he had done radio dramas with Orson Welles, been in a ton of shit. I mean, that guy.
Yeah, and he knew like Charlie Chaplin and shit.
Right. I mean, he
Yeah.
lived a good long time, and I believe he had his faculties all the way up to that time.
Except for when he fired Mr. Keating, that was horrible.
I understand that was tough for him to do.
And the Obama's dog passed away. He was only 12, but that's like 150 in dog years or something.
Yeah, Doge years. Well, rest in peace, Bo. You were a good dog.
He was a good dog. He was a good looking dog too.
I didn't like having animals in the White House. Shit all over the floor. I don't want to clean it up. And look at the guy now. The guy in there now. His dog's biting everybody, biting people and attacking and doing this and that and shitting and who knows. But maybe that's Joe. Maybe Joe shits on the floor and blames it on the dog. I don't know. But anyway, I'll be seeing him on a golf course. I live on a golf course. In case I'll be faxing everybody on my fax list. From the office of the vice president. I'll be faxing. I have an email list. Sign up for it. Thank you. Goodbye.
The huge big poops they're finding on the floor came from Biden, but the little tiny ones, those came from the Carter.
Huge poops. Huge poops. Guys, don't forget that we are doing. If you're listening or watching this today or Saturday, the 15th of May. And you can make it. Come on out. We hope to see you at Atlanta Pizza and Euro in Conyers, Georgia. We'll be there on Sunday, May 16th from 2 to 5 p.m. $8 gets you some pizza and some salads and some soft drinks. $5 for kids. You don't have to eat. So if you want to, eat on your way there and just come and hang out and see everybody, you can do that. And if you'd like to bring some dessert. Now, I hope you have gas. If you don't have gas, then you can eat the Reuben pizza, and then on your way home you will have some. But no, hopefully there'll be gas where you are and you'll be able to come. I understand if you can't because some
$20.
Some people,
$20.
People are filling up their garbage bags with gasoline and putting it in their trunks. Idiots.
Mm-mm.
I keep these in the fridge.
No, you do. So keep it cool. Keep it. Yeah. All right. So before we wrap, Steph, tell us what's going on with Barkville.
Well, we were super excited that Caffeine and Octane has invited us back for June, July, and August.
Okay.
So we'll be setting them out there the first Sunday of each month. And we'll be out there from 7:30 to 11:30. I'm definitely going to volunteer at one of these events.
Where do they do those?
At Perimeter Mall.
Perimeter Mall, yeah.
Yep.
My neighbor goes over there. My neighbor goes over there with his DeLorean.
Well, if I'm there, you let me know so I can, scope them out.
Yeah.
And just tell them, hey, I know your neighbor.
Yeah, I know Tim Andrews. That's cool, right?
Your dad should go to some of these.
I'm gonna try to get him to go to one. It'll be difficult for the next couple months, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But as we talked about last week, the problem has not went away. If anything, it's gotten even worse with the shelters are full. Nobody's adopting right now, probably because they can't go anywhere because they don't have gas. So that also helps. So if you can, please donate, or I don't know, just try to help us.
Help any way you can.
Animals live. I don't know, but just go to barkvilledogrescue.org and just whatever you see on there that hits your heart, click it. Woof.
And don't forget cats. Keep it canine and also feline if you can help it.
Yeah, cats, they need a lot of help too. They need even more help.
Right. Coming up in in a week, less than a week. I'll be speaking with the owners of Donut Dollies on Monday, and then we'll put it into the show Tuesday morning. And it's cool. They're opening a new location. And once again, proving that donuts don't have to be disgusting and fast foody. You can have a real delicious donut and enjoy your donut like we used to in the old days. When you went to Mr. Donut, you got a donut on a stick.
Are those the people that had the cannoli donuts? Because you need to tell them to get those on the menu regularly.
You have to follow them on Instagram, and when you see it, go get it.
No, you need to tell them to put them on the menu for forever.
Right now, they have the cinnamon crunch donut, which is, I think, something you should try because it's delicious. Let's see.
I'm allergic to shrimp.
Yeah, that's right. There is shrimp on it. Coconut shrimp donut.
The coconut makes it sweet.
And in a couple of weeks, we'll have, not in a couple of weeks. Yeah, a couple of weeks. We'll have Sean McBee, who is runs a podcasting network, pop culture podcasting network, Fandom Limb Network. Fandom Limb Network. And
He also hosts a couple podcasts. And
yeah. So I don't know how Jeff met him, but we'll find out all about it. And I looked over the website. It looks really cool. So hopefully we'll have a good time talking to him. And looks like you guys are going to be doing a show about Tell 'em Steve Dave and the other one, Smod.
I think while you guys are both out of town, Dustin and I talked about having Roby on to talk about shit that you guys don't like to talk about that we like Tell 'em Steve Dave.
All right.
Yeah, Kevin Smith centric podcast.
Yeah.
And then find out, why don't you see if you get Kevin on? And then he can.
I reached out to Brian Johnson. I haven't heard back, but he's been doing some podcast appearances.
Cool.
Offer Jason Mewes some heroin to come on.
He doesn't do that anymore, as far as I know. And find out from Roby why that lady wanted that fucking blanket so badly. She broke it. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to the show. And we will talk to you soon. And until that time, please remember to keep it canon.